Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookemonsters. My name is PK. It is Tuesday, May the 27th, and we're here to look at new releases that are published this week. On Tuesdays, we look at crime fiction and thrillers. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope it was nice where you are. And here we are, back at it. Letters from the Dead. Whoa. By Isabella Valeri. Fine, let's jump right there. This is a debut novel, looks like. It says, for the first 11 years of her life, the precocious daughter of a great European family tracing its roots back more than 15 generations never set foot on land that her family didn't own. Cloistered on a sprawling estate in the Alpine foothills, as the youngest sibling of her generation, she has little knowledge of the dark forces gathering in the shadows to strike at her family. But when her insatiable curiosity leads her to uncover a priceless text hidden hundreds of years before, she shines light into corners meant to be left in the dark and threatens to uncover secrets that could trigger an internecine battle for succession. Then, with no warning or explanation, she is whisked away on a private jet and exiled to an elite but isolated all-girls boarding school in the United States. More than a decade later, now in her 20s, she finds her bank accounts abruptly frozen by her family. She's recalled from her affluent but empty existence abroad. Little does she know that her family has plans for her, including an arranged marriage. Worse, as she draws closer to discovering the horrific act that sent her into exile a decade before, and shadowy enemies close in on her family, she must face her most dangerous and powerful foe, her own father. Dun, dun, dun. My Father Always Finds Corpses, a new series by Lee Hollis. Good morning, Mary. Did you have a good weekend? Happy Tuesday. Feels like a Monday today. True. My timing is all messed up, apparently. Picked up 2 books at the library and have started one of them, Knife by Joe Nesbo. Ooh, cool. Good author. Kim says, good morning. Good morning. You never forget your first corpse. For a former child star, Jared Jarvis, that discovery was 20 plus years ago, and a lot has happened since he solved a string of real-life Hollywood murders. Now Jared lives in Palm Springs, where he writes and directs local theater while quietly grieving the loss of his partner, police detective Charlie. Jared hasn't disclosed much about his sleuthing past to his daughter Liv, who just earned a degree in criminal justice. There's been distance between them since Charlie's death, and Jared's unsure how to bridge the gap. Liv, meanwhile, has put her career on hold in order to help her filmmaker boyfriend, Zell. His new documentary idea is to track down the surrogate who gave birth to Liv. Skeptical and annoyed by Zell's pressure tactics, Liv goes to confront him at his apartment, but there's no need to break things off because someone has bludgeoned Zell to death. Jared rushes to Liv's aid, surprising his daughter with his ease around a crime scene, firing off questions like a modern-day Columbo with better hair and wardrobe. Another shock is quite how many people had motive to finish Zell off, including a Russian film professor, a former first lady, and a sexy Secret Service agent. Together, Liv and Jared comb for clues across the sun-drenched Coachella Valley, growing close again. But while there's nothing like murder to bring a family together, this father-daughter reunion may be short-lived as long as the killer is on the loose. Red Lily by Janice Graham. Mary says, hi, Kim. Glad you're here. And she said, finished Death Long Overdue by Eva Gates last night, number 7 in the Lighthouse Library. I love that series. So does my mom. She just finished the most recent one. She looks forward to that one every year. Paris, 1989. A Cold War is ending. A new family is beginning, and one dog is about to save the day. Karl Box has never met his Aunt Lily. She was the family scandal, exiled, disgraced, and never spoken of. So when he's named the heir to her Paris estate, he packs a bag and his two-legged dog Billy and prepares for paperwork, not espionage. But Lily is very much alive and very much in trouble. What begins as a simple inheritance turns into a Cold War caper filled with coded messages, eccentric operatives, and secrets that could still get people killed. Carlson finds himself in the role of spy, dodging agents, covering for Lily, and wondering exactly what she's been hiding all these years. Craig Johnson has a new one. 21st in the Walt Longmire series. Good for him. This is called Return to Sender. When Blair McGowan, the mail person with the longest postal route in the country of over 300 miles a day, which is awkward, goes missing, the question becomes, where do you look for her? The postal inspector for the state of Wyoming elicits Sheriff Longmire to mount an investigation into her disappearance, and Walt does everything but mail it in, posing as a letter carrier himself. The good sheriff follows her trail and finds himself enveloped in the intrigue of an otherworldly cult. Walt, his absolute limits, forcing him to wrestle with the impossible question, what good are your morals if you're marked for the dead letter office? They just had to do the pun. End of that row. Kim says, thanks, Mary, you too. And Mary says, a die-hard Western, hard to find new ones these days except for this author. Love Longmire on the TV series. Indeed. He is still writing. Good for him. And I'm somewhat familiar with the Wyoming-ish area. Whispers of Dead Girls by Marley Bush. She's right. It can never happen again. She won't let it. 10 years have passed, and Ren Taylor is back at square one, having accepted a job at her old high school. She hoped to make peace with the past, but now she's thrust back into it. Her murdered teenage sister is still immortalized in town, and Ren can't stop seeing her wherever she goes. She's dogged by the scandal that ruined her childhood and killed her sister. Then Ren meets physics teacher Bryson Lewis, handsome and charismatic. All the other teachers and students seem to fall at his feet, but Ren knows men like him. She knows they can't be trusted. The more Ren watches him, the more suspicious she becomes, and when she notices his close relationship with a girl in one of his classes, a girl just like her sister, she worries history is about to repeat itself. This time, she won't sit back and watch another girl be taken before her time. This time, Ren will do what she must to save her, even if it means revealing her own darkest secrets. The Stalker by Paula Boehmer. I don't get the cover. I don't like the cover. Robert Newton Seville, a.k.a. Dowdy, is the son of a once wealthy, now hard-up family from Darien, Connecticut. Dowdy lives in perpetual cloud of delusion, convinced of his own genius and status. While he has little capacity to accurately assess his own abilities or prospects, he cruises through life on the sheer force of his own sense of entitlement, dropping out of college and landing in the early 90s in New York City, a place brimming with both prosperity and desperation. This is described as an untalented Mr. Ripley and a dumb American Psycho. We will not spend any more time on it. But if you're in the mood for that type of book, there you go. Brand new. Summer House by Yigit Karamet, and translator is Nicholas Glastonbury. I very much apologize. I'm going to be pronouncing things wrong here. Femi and Senner have been together 40 years. No small feat for any pair, but especially admirable for a gay couple in Turkey. Behind closed doors, their life on Bucada, I looked up how to pronounce it. It was kind of both ways. An idyllic island near Istanbul is like a powder keg that needs only one spark to blow. That spark soon comes in the form of Denise, the wildly handsome and troubled teenager next door, who immediately catches Femi's eye. This harmless crush immediately raises Sanders' hackles, although he doesn't think Dennis would ever reciprocate Femi's feelings. It's not a risk he's willing to take, but when one betrayal leads to another, Dennis hatches a plan, and the sultry summer takes a dark turn as the couple's relationship is put to the test like never before. Will lust or love win the day? One thing's for sure, not everyone will be getting out of this love triangle alive. That is a very pink cover. And one could say that person's getting a really bad sunburn, if one wanted to say that. Robert Dugoni has a new one, where he said, don't like that cover either. With my first glance, I thought it was a cucumber slice, but don't think so. No. And I thought it was going to be like sci-fi, and it's not. I don't know. A Dead Draw by Robert Dugoni. 11th in the Tracy Crosswhite series. Detective Tracy Crosswhite isn't one to lose her cool until her interrogation of the taunting and malicious Eric Schmidt, a suspect in 2 cold case killings. Schmidt also has unnerving ties to the monster who murdered Tracy's sister, stirring memories of the crime that shaped Tracy's life. In fact, I think they dealt with that in the first book. After a critical mistake during a shooting exercise, Tracy breaks. Haunted by nightmares and flashbacks, Tracy heads to her hometown of Cedar Grove to refocus. Just a peaceful getaway with her husband, her daughter, and their nanny at their weekend house. But Tracy's sleepless nights are only beginning. A legal glitch has allowed Schmidt to go free, and Tracy has every reason to fear that he's following her. Forced into a twisted game of cat and mouse, Tracy must draw on all her training, wits, and strength to defeat a master criminal before he takes away everyone Tracy loves. End of that row. A Hired Kill by Stephen Konkoly, 2nd in the Garrett Mann series. After FBI Special Agent Garrett Mann executes a deadly raid on an underground facility in New Mexico, the sole survivor's testimony reveals a greater threat to come. The covert lair was a training ground for hundreds of cartel sicarios who have since disappeared into the U.S., their ultimate mission still unknown. When another FBI raid goes catastrophically wrong, Mann finds himself on the trail of the Bureau's original target, a moonlighting serial killer who leads the agent into a nightmare that's darker and more extensive than Mann ever feared. As Mann and his team hunt their fugitive, they find he could have deep ties to powerful government officials. But even as the list of people Mann trusts grows smaller, he must find the killer and blow the heart of this conspiracy wide open before more lives are lost. Beyond This Place of Wrath and Tears by Jack Ford. Washington, D.C., April 1954. Lee Carson, former war correspondent, is frustrated that her journalism career has been relegated to society events and fashion stories, but when she receives a tip about a Russian spy in a high-ranking government position at the height of the Cold War, she feels the thrill of a story that she hasn't felt since she was on the front lines of the European theater. London, December 1943. As war rages on across Europe, 22-year-old Lee Carson is waging a private battle of her own. An American-born correspondent for the International News Service, Lee is determined to cover the war from the field, but no woman, certainly not an attractive young woman with no military experience, will be allowed near the front lines. Lee is not easily dissuaded, and as the Allied forces prepare to take the fight to the enemy, her gift for boosting public morale is seen a valuable weapon. Assigned to cover the build-up to the invasion of Nazi-held Europe, she constantly wrangles with authorities in order to get to the heart of the action. From talking herself onto a bomber and flying over the beaches of Normandy at the start of D-Day to other feats of daring, she witnesses and reports on the war's most pivotal moments. I guess it's in there because it's sort of a spy book. John Gilstrap has a new one called Burned Bridges. First in a new series featuring Irene Rivers, it says. She thought she and her loved ones would be safe here. The lovely farm nestled in the heart of West Virginia's eastern panhandle looks like the perfect refuge for the backstabbing maelstrom of DC politics, but this seemingly peaceful new home is anything but safe for former FBI Director Rivers and her children. Troubles begin when Irene's 12-year-old nephew finds a dead body in a cave on the property. Grim evidence points to a long-ago murder and cover-up. Powerful forces will do anything, including kill again, to protect their interests. Soon, Irene's family is the target of the kinds of threats and intimidations she's seen before from major crime syndicates. But this time, the enemy is determined to tear them down. The enemy determined to tear them down is homegrown. Then comes the attack she most fears. With everything she cares about at risk and an impossible deadline looming, Irene knows she won't get any help from the local police force. And she's burned too many bridges in Washington to get help from the FBI. This time, Irene is on her own. By the Time You Read This, by Brianna Labusks. Book 3 in the Reza Susanto series. FBI forensic linguist Reza Susanto thinks she's through with the past now that her psychopathic serial killer's sister Isabel is locked away forever. Then Reza receives a letter from Isabel. It's just a single message. By the time you read this, I'll be dead. Soon after, Isabel is discovered dead in her cell, forcing Reza back into her depraved orbit, one that includes a brand of true crime worshippers obsessed with Isabel, her killing spree, and those who survived it. When a new victim is killed in the same manner that made Isabel notorious, Reza and FBI forensic psychologist Callum Kilkenny aren't just tasked with finding out who killed Isabel and why. They're hunting for a protege following in Isabel's footsteps. Reza must uncover the truth, whether or not she's ready for it, before someone else dies. End of that row. And Pio rises and says, "Shake it off." Discipline by Mark Avery. Two homicide detectives track a brazen killer who's dropping bodies at historical Philadelphia landmarks. Giuseppe Discipline Kane is a cold-hearted, calculated, and resentful murderer who turns Philadelphia into his own personal killing ground. As the death toll rises, city officials and the police department clamor to calm the fears of the citizens about this brazen serial killer. When an elected official's family member is found dead, no one in the city is safe. Detective Aidan Bravo is a highly decorated officer with a legendary clearance rate. Detective Christian Bennett is flashy, reckless, and a serial womanizer. After Christian's transfer to the Philadelphia Police Department's Homicide Division, these two starkly contrasting officers are forced to work together. Despite their disdain for each other, Aidan and Christian's skill set complement each other. While Aidan is all about the job and Christian is all about the women, their next case is all about survival. Will they succumb to the pressure of maintaining their partnership, or can they cast aside their differences and stay alive long enough to bring discipline to justice? Sounds like a TV show. Nora Roberts has a new one, and it's here instead of romance because. Just because. Hidden Nature. Natural Resources Police Officer Sloan Cooper and her partner had just taken down 3 men preying on hikers in the western Maryland mountains. Driving back, she pulled in at a convenience store and walked right into a robbery in progress. One gunshot from a jittery thief was about to change her world. After being shocked back to life on the operating table, she has a long recovery ahead, so she moves back to her parents' peaceful farm in Heron's Rest. As for the boyfriend who dumped her via text while she was in the hospital, good riddance. She may be down, but she's not out. So when a woman vanishes, leaving her car behind in a supermarket parking lot, Sloan searches online for similar cases. She finds them spread across 3 states. Men and women, old and young, and the missing seem to have nothing in common, and the abductions keep happening. Luckily, the new man in her life shares her passion for solving this mystery, but it will take every ounce of endurance to get to the dark heart of this bizarre case, and she's willing to risk her life again if that's what it takes to stop the horror. And it's here in crime and thrillers because the emphasis was more on crime solving than a romance. Terminal Impasse. Mary says, hooray, love Nora Roberts. And J.D. Robb. I read the first of this series, I believe. Terminal Impasse by Sarah Driscoll, 4th in the NYPD Negotiators series. NYPD detectives Gemma Capello and Sean Logan are cutting through Grand Central Terminal on their way to a nearby pub when all hell breaks loose. Masked men gun down police officers and round up a group of commuters, including Gemma and Logan, taking their cell phones and binding them hand and foot in zip ties. They are members of the paramilitary group known as Sinister 13, seeking the release of their imprisoned soldiers. Their leader wears a vest covered with C4 plastic explosives, threatening to detonate it if their demands are not met. To save the hostages, Gemma persuades their captors to allow her to negotiate with law enforcement on their behalf without revealing her identity. Uh-oh, that's legally kind of sketchy. As she earns their trust, Logan plots to free himself to take on the gunman, but time is running out. The abductors are growing more impatient and violent with every passing moment. With their NYPD colleagues on the outside, Gemma and Logan must use all their negotiation experience and tactical skills to prevent the situation from escalating into a bloodbath. We are almost out of time, so we'll just do drive-bys on these last two. The Edge of Guilt, gripping legal thriller of grief, betrayal, and fight for justice by David Moraldi, 4th in a series. Heather was only 15 when she died by suicide. Her father wants justice. The system wants silence. Oops, I didn't give it its moment. There's its moments. And The Tradwife's Secret, an absolutely addictive new psychological thriller novel with a jaw-dropping twist by Leanne Child. A marriage is between two people and their millions of followers. All right, that is all we have time for today. Tomorrow we'll be looking at romance. We'll be swinging around to the cozy mysteries that we started on Friday and didn't do yesterday. I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. Hope you have a good Tuesday. Kim says, headed to the park later. Oh, nice. Hope to get a lot of reading done today. Oh, nice. Oh, I love it that you go to the park. All right. And Mary says, right on time. Hope you all have a great day. I think we may have some rain here. Oh, that'll help keep things green. And Kim says, y'all have a great day. Back at you, baby. All right. Thank you guys so much. And please be safe, read good books. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.